The 7 biggest American mysteries. Number 7. The Black Dahlia. Elizabeth Short was a Boston native who spent her adolescence in Medford, Miami, and the Los Angeles area. She was supposed to marry a U.S. Air Force major. Unfortunately, he died 1 week before the end of World War II. She had no trouble with the law except for one arrest, underage drinking. She was last seen alive on January 9, 1947. In the early hours of January 15, 1947, Betty Bersinger discovered the body of Elizabeth Short in a vacant lot in Leimert Park, Los Angeles. Short's body was entirely drained of blood and cut in half at the waist. Her face was slashed from the corners of her mouth all the way to her ears. Her body was positioned in a grotesque way, much like a fashion mannequin. As soon as reporters heard of the bizarre murder, the investigation was on the cover of major newspapers across the country, and Elizabeth was dubbed the Black Dahlia. To this day, over 60 men and women have falsely claimed they murdered Elizabeth. Number 6. Flight 19. On December 5, 1945, during routine training, 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers disappeared over the Bermuda Triangle. Even more troubling, the crew sent out to look for them was also never seen again. In total, 27 men disappeared that day. The Navy released a 500-page report which did not explain much. It would appear that the captain of the fleet got lost while making a turn and led his crew towards the middle of the Atlantic, not mainland Florida. It seems that the crew he was training knew they had to head west. At 6:20 p.m., the last message from the 14 men was heard on the radio. All planes close up tight. We'll have to ditch unless landfall. When the first plane drops below 10 gallons, we all go down together. Believed to be close to shore, 2 PBM Mariner seaplanes were sent to perform square pattern searches. One of the planes dropped off the radar of naval ships in the area and was never heard from again. Number 5. The secret vanishings in America's national parks. Getting lost in a national park might seem strange to some, but when you consider that Yosemite National Park covers over 1 million square miles, vanishing seems like a question of not if, but when. Most of the strange disappearances are of children, ages 20 months to 12 years, and the elderly between ages 74 and 85. In almost all parks, no one wearing a transponder or equipped with a weapon has ever disappeared. What makes them secret is the fact that both the FBI and the National Park Service refuse to discuss them. 50% of the children who go missing are found dead. The ones who are found alive are always found miles away from where they disappeared. None of them have ever wanted to talk about their experience, even though they seem severely traumatized by it. The farthest they ever found a dead child was only 2.8 miles from the location at which they were last seen. I understand that a lot of these cases can be attributed to children being children, but many people believe there is a more sinister reason behind the more than 1,100 people who have gone missing from national parks in the past 50 years. Number 4. The Mothman sighting. Point Pleasant, West Virginia is the birthplace of what is now known as the Mothman prophecies. During 1966 and 1967, there were several reports of a cryptid that resembled a man-sized bird or creature or something. A writer in the 70s attributed the collapse of the Silver Bridge near Point Pleasant as the doing of the Mothman, and considering the fact that a few people who had reported seeing the creature died in the bridge collapse, it isn't such a far-fetched story. Officials attributed the dramatic failure of the suspension bridge to a single eyebar which had a 2.5 millimeter defect. After the collapse, no new sightings of the Mothman were reported, and investigations into what or who it was stopped abruptly. Number 3. The Texas Killing Fields. A mile away from the stretch of Interstate 45, described as the Highway of Hell due to the high rate of traffic accidents, lies a 25-acre patch of land. It is known as the Texas Killing Fields, and since the early 1970s, more than 30 bodies have been found there. The victims victims are mostly young women, some as young as 12, and many of the cases have glaring similarities, which has led the FBI to believe that this is the work of a serial killer. The fields have been described as a perfect place for killing somebody and getting away with it. Number 2. The Roanoke Colony. Sir Walter Raleigh established the Roanoke Colony in 1585 with the blessing of Queen Elizabeth I. On August 18, 1587, Virginia Dare was born. She was the first white Christian child born in the British colonies in the New World. Again on August 18th, this time in 1590, the colony was found abandoned with no humans in sight. There was only one skeleton, and the word Croatoan was carved into the fence around the village. Due to bad weather, Sir Walter Raleigh could not properly investigate what had happened to his colony, and to this day, there is no definite theory that explains the fate of the 115 people who disappeared in the lost colony. In 1937, a tourist visiting the area of Roanoke found a stone believed to be inscribed by Eleanor Dare, the mother of Virginia Dare. The authenticity of the stone is highly debated, since many other inscribed stones found in the area were proven to be fabricated. Number 1. The JFK assassination conspiracy. This is considered to be the original conspiracy theory, and to this day people spend insane amounts of time trying to figure out the real truth behind the murder of the 35th President of the United States. Was it the KGB? Was it the Mafia? Was it Lyndon B. Johnson? Or maybe Fidel Castro? People have gone as far as to theorize that a man carrying an umbrella on that sunny day had it fitted with a weapon, and he is the one true shooter of JFK. There are 3 key players in almost every theory surrounding JFK's assassination: the babushka lady, the umbrella man, and the man on the grassy knoll. As it turns out, the man with the umbrella was actually making a silent protest against JFK's father's appeasement of Adolf Hitler before the start of World War II. The identity of the babushka lady has never been confirmed, and the man on the grassy knoll is believed to be a glass bottle reflecting the sunlight.